No.
The day my husband found out who I really was, he looked at me like a stranger. Not because I cheated. Not because I stole from him. But because the woman he married had never existed. And by the time the truth came out, everything I loved was already burning to the ground. My name is Vanessa. 5 years ago, I was running from a life I never wanted anyone to know about. At 21, I worked as a sex worker in a city where survival was more important than dignity. I didn't dream of that life. I fell into it. A sick mother. Mounting bills. No family willing to help. One desperate decision became another until I was trapped in a world I hated. Every night I told myself it was temporary. Every morning I felt a little more broken. Then one night my mother died. And suddenly I realized there was nothing left keeping me there. I packed everything I owned into a single suitcase. Changed my phone number. Deleted my social media. And disappeared. I moved hundreds of miles away to a town where nobody knew my name. For the first time in years, I felt free. I found work as a waitress. Rented a tiny apartment. And slowly built a new life. Then I met Daniel. He was kind. Honest. The type of man who remembered small details and made you feel safe. For months we talked. Laughed. Fell in love. But every time he asked about my past, I lied. Not because I wanted to deceive him. Because I was terrified. Terrified that if he knew the truth, he'd walk away. So I told him my parents had passed away. I told him I'd moved for a fresh start. I left out everything else. The years. The clients. The shame. The secrets. Eventually Daniel proposed. I said yes. And for a while, it felt like I had finally escaped. We got married. Bought a house. Had a beautiful daughter. Life became everything I'd ever dreamed of. Until the past found me. It started with a message. A single message from an unknown number. I know who you are. My stomach dropped. I blocked the number immediately. Then another message arrived. And another. Each one more threatening than the last. Whoever was sending them knew details nobody else should know. Details from the life I'd buried. For weeks I told myself it was nothing. Some cruel prank. But deep down I knew better. Someone from my past had found me. Then one afternoon, I saw him. A man named Victor. Years ago, he'd been one of my regular clients. Now he was standing across the street from my daughter's school. Watching. Smiling. My blood ran cold. That night he called. He told me he'd recognized me online through a family photo. He wanted money. Lots of it. Or he'd tell my husband everything. I panicked. I secretly emptied my savings account and paid him. I thought it would end there. Instead, it got worse. Victor wanted more. And more. And more. The blackmail became endless. Every payment made him greedier. Every lie made me weaker. I stopped sleeping. Stopped eating. Daniel noticed. He asked what was wrong. I told him I was stressed. The guilt was destroying me. But I couldn't bring myself to confess. Then Victor crossed a line. One evening, Daniel came home carrying an envelope. My heart stopped the moment I saw it. Because I already knew what was inside. Photos. Old photos. Photos from a life I'd spent years trying to erase. Daniel stared at me. Waiting. Hoping I had an explanation. But all I could do was cry. The truth finally came out. Every secret. Every lie. Every missing piece of my past. The room felt colder with every word. Daniel didn't scream. That would have hurt less. Instead, he just looked shattered. Like something precious had been broken beyond repair. He kept asking one question. Why didn't you tell me? I had no answer. Because the truth was ugly. I didn't trust him enough. And I didn't trust myself enough. For weeks we barely spoke. The house felt like a prison. Then Daniel filed for divorce. The man who once promised to love me forever couldn't look at me anymore. Friends took sides. Neighbors whispered. The story spread faster than wildfire. Some judged me for who I'd been. Others judged me for the lies. In the end, it didn't matter. I lost almost everything. But the worst part wasn't losing my marriage. It was watching my daughter caught in the middle of a war she never asked for. The divorce became public. People talked. Children repeated things they'd heard from adults. My daughter came home crying one day asking why people were saying bad things about mommy. That broke me more than anything else. Months later, the police finally arrested Victor for blackmail and harassment. But by then the damage was done. My marriage was over. My reputation was destroyed. And the life I'd worked so hard to build had collapsed. Today, I live alone. My daughter spends weekends with me. Daniel and I remain civil. But we'll never be what we once were. Sometimes people ask if I regret my past. The answer is no. I regret believing I could bury it. Because secrets don't stay buried forever. They wait, patiently, silently, until the perfect moment to rise from the grave and take everything you love. And that's exactly what mine did.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.